This is either gonna be my shortest stream session yet, or my longest, depending on how things go. Hello everyone, Artemu the Violet Wizard here, and today will hopefully be the grand finale of Kirby Super Star Ultra. Last time we tackled Helper to Hero mode, as well as Meta Nightmare Ultra. Two pretty darn good modes in this collection of games, all things considered. And today, before we take on the final challenge of our adventure, there is something that I do want to briefly show off, and that is in the theater. This is a way to replay all the various cutscenes that you're able to see throughout the game. And I came in here for one very specific reason, is I want to show off one of your rewards for clearing Meta Nightmare Ultra, because it's pretty cool. So you want to go into theater and select Fly Meta Knight. Isn't that cool? Just a recreation of the opening cutscene to the whole game, only with Meta Knight instead of Kirby. Pretty nice, cute little reward for clearing up a pretty awesome game mode. For that said, we got ourselves the big event of this session that we gotta take care of. Oh boy, this is where it all comes together. So your reward for clearing every single mode in this game, all of the original Kirby Super Star modes, Revenge of the King, Meta Nightmare Ultra, Helper to Hero, and the default arena. This will unlock our final challenge in the game and the main thing we are doing here today. The true arena. The last battle, without a doubt. Beat 10 tough foes, including the final 4. All the new bosses are here. Beat them to be the true master. This is easily the hardest part of the entire game, and it would set a standard that's repeated in every Kirby game going forward. So the True Arena is essentially a new version of the arena, where we'll be testing our abilities against the various bosses that we have encountered that are new to Kirby Super Star Ultra. So for this one, you definitely want to be prepared for. Select the abilities that you are the best with to contend against these opponents, and just pray that you're able to get through here. For what I want to do, I will kind of want to do something similar to what I did when we first challenged the arena, and that we're going to treat this as a roguelike for our first attempt at this. Simply just going in as default Kirby and then seeing what we're able to do going forward. Let's hop on the Warp Star, starting things off with the true mid-boss all-stars. So we're going to be fighting all the returning mid-bosses that were from Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland. So this mode, you definitely want to be careful. The key to succeeding in this mode, you want to make sure that you know not only the best way to use your abilities, but also to memorize the attack patterns of your opponents and get a read for what they are going to do. Memorizing enemy attack patterns is crucial for surviving in this mode. Otherwise, you are not going to have an easy time of this, as will be very evident in a little bit. Starting off with Mr. TikTok here. Goes down pretty nicely, giving us easy access to the mic ability. And now we face the Grand Wheelie. Just damage you as much as we can, and that should take you out with mic. So now we have access to Wheel as we go about fighting Fan. Definitely want to be careful against Fan, because if he grabs you, you are definitely going to take a bit of damage against this guy. Whoop, okay, that was very poorly timed. Alright, luckily we weren't thrown against a wall, so that allowed us to avoid damage. But yeah, for this mode, you definitely want to be careful and make use of your abilities here. Let's actually go with Wheel against our next opponent here. So after taking care of Fan, we got Fire Lion. Definitely want to be careful. If we can get through this segment without taking any damage, that would be really good. There we go. That takes care of Fire Lion. And ow. Actually took a little bit. I was trying to get out of Wheel, but we should be good. So now we've taken care of that. We are brought back into the rest area. So unlike the rest area we saw before when we first faced the arena, this one has a few differences. So of the available abilities that they give you in the rest area, they now only give you one. The other one will always be Sleep, which is a dud. It does nothing to help you. And the Maxim tomatoes have now been replaced with regular tomatoes. So your healing options in this mode are going to be heavily restricted compared to how things were previously. So you gotta clear this mode, fighting the toughest opponents in the game with limited options for your abilities, as well as less healing items. Yeah, it is a very challenging mode. Do not worry if your first attempt at this doesn't end with success, because this is meant to be a real challenge and really test your abilities as a Kirby player. But that's enough talking there, because we need to take action. Let's face Wispy's Revenge. I'm not too worried about this one. We do have to worry about the poison owl apples, as well as the Gordos he can drop, but I don't think this one's going to get too much trouble. Oh yeah, that was an attack we didn't see previously. He can spit out tornadoes. Oh, we gotta be really careful. Alright, we took him down before he could start dropping a lot of Gordos on us. Alright, switch up our ability. We'll probably do this for like every time we return to the rest area, unless I think the ability's not going to be that good. So now we dealt with Wispy, time to take on Krako's Revenge. Definitely want to be careful here. Krako can really blindside you. He does have patterns very similar to a lot of bosses, but the times that he moves across the screen can be pretty random, and that can really mess you up if you're not prepared. When going in this mode, I highly recommend using the hammer ability, because it is really good. It does a lot of damage to enemies. You can completely avoid damage by doing the rush attack, so that is really good against opponents here. We are going to create a Bonker since our last partner was destroyed, and we're going to go with Plasma Wisp as our main ability here. So we go and tackle Lololo and Lalala's Revenge. This one should be a pretty good matchup for us here. And hello, Jacob. Welcome to the stream. We're tackling the final mode of Kirby Super Star Ultra. So depending on how things go, this should easily be the final session of this stream series that we have been doing over the last couple of weeks. Alright, Bonkers was able to easily take those two out alongside us. And our ability doesn't really matter for this particular boss, because we're fighting Cabula again. Yeah, much like the arena, we also have a segment where we have to fight in the Star Chariot. Definitely want to be careful when fighting Cabula here. You can really get blindsided by her attacks, especially from the Gordo she shoots out. Against this opponent, I would recommend focusing on just trying to avoid being attacked. Just hold down the attack button so that you can just do damage to her over time. But your priority here is to avoid damage. Don't worry too much about just scoring hits, because you will just naturally hit her as you are going through this fight. But yep, like that, we were able to get through her without any damage. Very good. Very happy to hear that, Jacob. So let us create a new partner, since we lost it when we went up against Cabula. So if you are playing two-player mode, a second player will be able to pilot another ship during the starship segments, where they will be basically playing like a tiny version of Heavy Lobster that is on Kirby's side, which is a fun little extra thing that they put specifically for the two-player sections of this game. And anyway, time to hop into Kreko Jr.'s Revenge. This one is also going to be pretty challenging, because this guy's got a lot of attacks on him, and his movements can be pretty nasty. Like I said before, a lot of enemies have set patterns that they go through, so remember that as you are doing these fights. Yeah, I forgot that Parasol really isn't good for being able to provide invincibility during charge attacks, but it's all good. We managed to get through the main bosses, and now we only have 4 opponents left to do. The final 4, as it were. These guys are easily the toughest bosses in the game, so be sure you are prepared for this. Come at them with the best abilities you have. Make sure you have plenty of Maxim tomatoes before you go up against them. So our first opponent here to start us off is Masked DDD, who we previously fought at the end of Revenge of the King. So this guy will definitely be pretty nasty if you're not prepared. Like I said before, memorize the attack patterns of these guys, and you should be good. Know when's the best time to attack and the best time to get away. Like there. Alright, he's reeling back, so we got to stay in the air. Be sure to watch out for the electric raids, otherwise you'll be taking a lot of damage and will most likely lose your ability too. Woo! There we go! DDD is down! Oh, don't worry, Jacob. We'll be seeing him pretty soon. We're going to create Bonkers again, and we're going to go with Yo-Yo. At this point, we're pretty good to grab another tomato, because we have plenty of these left. Though I'm still pretty worried about how things are going to go here, but hopefully we can do this our first try. So our next opponent is Wham Bam Jewel, the final opponent in Helper to Hero mode. This guy is probably one of the easiest of the final 4 to deal with, just because he has a very set pattern that he goes through. And if you are familiar with the original fight against Wham Bam Rock, his pattern is very similar to how that one went. So if you memorize that boss's attacks, you should be able to get through this one with very little trouble. Okay, we took a shot from his hand there, but we should be good. Alright, we're able to use that breakdance technique there to do some good damage to this guy. Really love the yo-yo ability, just such a cool concept. I wish it was in more games. Like, I know they brought it back in Star Allies, and I'm very happy that they did. Alright, for this one, he's gonna do a rocket punch attack. Definitely want to watch out for that. And he's gonna do his gunshot. Ooh, good work, Bonkers! Very nice! So now, we got ourselves another big opponent to deal with. Gonna grab a tomato there. Gonna leave the other 2 for what we have to do next time. So we're gonna grab Fighter for this one. Because now it's time to take on the final opponent in Meta Nightmare Ultra, Galactonite. So the True Arena is the only time that you're able to fight both Wham Bam Jewel and Galactonite as Kirby. So it's definitely a pretty interesting distinction, this being the only time you'll be able to fight them with Kirby. So you definitely want to make sure you memorize these guys' attack patterns and have a good idea on how you want to go about fighting them. Especially in the case for this guy, because he has a lot going on. He can summon Meta Knights to fight you. We lost our partner, so we're just going to be on our own here. Yeah, this is definitely going to be a tricky one. With Meta Knight, you have his healing abilities that you would normally be able to have. But in this mode, we have to go with just our basic abilities. We are unable to heal. So, yeah, this is going to be much more difficult for us to get through. So I like to try and keep your distance when fighting Galactonite, and just try not to get too close. Otherwise, he could blindside you with one of his melee attacks. Alright, if you lose your ability, be sure to try and retrieve it. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck having to do damage by grabbing stars that are left by your opponents, which aren't really all that good for doing damage. Alright, we were able to take those guys out. Really love the powerful just kick attack that fighter can do. It's really good at this point. Rising Break is also a good technique to use here. We should be just about done. One more hit should do it. There we go. Galactonite is down. Only one last opponent remains. Someone who is very familiar to us. We caught a brief glimpse of this character when we were seeing the intro cutscene to the true arena, but didn't quite get to see who they were. Oh boy, this is going to be a fight. Either we come out on top, or we're gonna have to redo this entire mode again. Let's do this. Our final opponent, Mark's Soul, the true final boss of Kirby Super Star Ultra. This guy is a lot. It's basically just a souped-up version of Mark's, who has absorbed the remains of Nova and has powered himself up to a ghastly new form. This guy is really powerful. You do not want to get hit by this guy, otherwise you will take a lot of damage. And he's got a lot of souped-up versions of his older attacks. Definitely want to watch out for everything he's able to dish out against you. Alongside his usual moves, he's also got a few new ones that you want to watch out for. Depending on how things go, we should be pretty good here, but again, watch out. Since he tends to teleport around a lot, you want to use your guard a lot of the time to protect yourself from damage. So this is one of the new attacks he has. He'll split up and turn into globs of paint that will rain it down and just try to damage you there. That's actually an attack borrowed from Dracia from Kirby Canvas Curse. So it's pretty cool to see that here. Also, absorbing the paint globules will net you the paint ability, that being one of the few chances you have of being able to use paint in this game. So definitely keep that in mind here. I just want to watch out for that. We can get a few good charge shots in while he's down at this elevation. So that's the black hole. Definitely want to stay away from that. As long as you're able to keep your distance, we should be good here. Okay, Knuckle Joe was about to expire, but he managed to hit one of the cutter blades in time. allowing him to respawn as Sir Kibble. That is really good for us, because we still have a partner that can help us out in this fight. Alright, he's going to do his shadow attack. Yeah, I'm really hoping that we're able to get through this one with very little trouble. Alright, so now he should be splitting up into 2 different segments. You want to dodge that attack to the best of your abilities. I've noticed that he will always turn into the magenta one before going with the cyan one. So keep that in mind when you are doing this fight, because that attack can really hurt you if you're not prepared. Alright, he's doing the vine attack again. It's pretty funny, this attack would also get referenced by one of the bosses in Kirby Triple Deluxe's version of the True Arena. That game definitely has a very tough... I have fought that version of the True Arena plenty of times, only managed to beat it a few occasions. It is really tough. Alright, stay low to avoid that hit. Depending on the next attacks Marks could do, we could potentially summon another partner. Just depends on the next hit. Alright, think he's going to turn into paint again. We could take this opportunity to try and use paint ability against him, but it doesn't really do too much damage, so I'm just going to focus on guarding here. Alright, that's actually an attack we can suck up. Alright, we can grab some cutter blades and give us a new partner. Definitely want to watch out for that arrow attack, because that's really nasty. Alright, I really love the range that the cutter blades get, so this is definitely a good power to have here. So like last time, you're able to get either the cutter, ice, or paint abilities from Marks in this fight. So being able to make use of those abilities could work here, or also just with whatever ability you naturally able to grab before going into this fight. Because there's certainly a lot of options. Not really one strategy is the end-all best one for dealing with this guy. Like, when it comes to damage, I would definitely feel that Hammer and Plasma would be really good for this particular fight. And we actually almost got him down. Just a few more hits will do it. I think we actually got this on our first attempt. Alright, we're taking a little bit of damage from the roses, but we should be good because we have... Alright, he's gonna drop the ice bomb, and Waddle 2 gets the final blow! Woo! We did it! Good riddance! And with that, we managed to clear the hardest challenge in the game. We defeated the True Arena and managed to finally take down Marks in his strongest form. That's it. So this is our reward for clearing every mode in the game. 100% clear. You have mastered Kirby. The bonus movie special edition blooper reel is now in the theater. The reward movie Kirby Master is now in the theater. So with that, we have technically finished Kirby Super Star Ultra, managing to clear all of the game modes. But we are technically not complete with the game, because there's one more reward if you're able to clear Helper to Hero using every single partner. If you were to do that, you would receive an additional cutscene that can be played in the theater. which is a compilation of all of the different opening cutscenes from the original SNES version of Kirby Superstar, which is a nice little bonus showcasing the early days of this particular game. I really don't feel like it's all that necessary to go for, because you have to play as every single partner in order to accomplish that. And there's like at least 20 of these guys, so yeah, I don't really recommend going for it. But how about we show off what we did manage to win for beating Marks at his strongest? The blooper reel. Alright, we got the opening to Spring Breeze here. Well, ow! So yep, this is indeed a blooper reel. Ow! Oh, not a caterpillar! Ugh. This reminds me a lot in the early Pixar films, how they would play like these specific bloopers from the perspective of their characters in the process of filming their animated films. And yeah, this is just a load of fun. The fact that they put in the effort to do this with the CG cutscenes that they made for this. Ow! Well, he's not going to be able to reach Fatty Whale that time. Here we go! Not again! Now we're taking down the Halberd. Ow! Should have really watched out for that piece of cannon. Now we managed to take down the Halberd. Whoop! I just love that the wheelie runs off in the end after Kirby falls in the water. That's so good. Hey, hey, hey! Whoa, whoa, whoa! Medic! Wah! So yeah, a very cute little bonus to cap off this little adventure that we have been on. But yeah, with that, we have actually managed to clear everything that we can do in Kirby Super Star Ultra. I was definitely saying earlier that this would either be the shortest or the longest stream we have done on this channel so far, depending on how things went here. But I would say beating the True Arena on our first attempt here was really good. Especially because I wasn't even committed to trying to use the best abilities that I could have used in this run. I mean, we did get Hammer and Plasma in a few of the fights, but yeah, it was definitely a pretty good run to finish things off here. That was definitely a very good run, and it's definitely been one of the most fun that I have had doing one of these streams before. Like, obviously, I had a lot of fun doing the Pokemon Fire Red Nuzlocke, as well as doing the Link to the Past randomizer we did. But to kind of bring some context into kind of how things were supposed to go before, so I was originally planning to stream this game over on my Twitch channel, and it was going to be the game that I was going to play after beating Spyro 2. However, after some news came up regarding Twitch's policies about having a set amount of highlights per channel, I decided to just completely jump ship from Twitch and move my operations over to YouTube. So it took us a little while to get into this game compared to how I was originally planning to schedule things, but I'm very glad we eventually got into this because it's been a blast playing through this. I obviously really love the Kirby series, and I'm excited to play more of this series in the future. But for now, I think I'll just leave things off in the sound test, because I would really like to hear one of my favorite songs in the game again. God, I love Marx's theme. It's just so iconic. It got a remix in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and I just love that version of the track. It's so good. But yeah, also with regards to Mark's Soul, that particular boss is pretty interesting, as this game would mark the first time that not only the True Arena would appear in the series, but also with the idea that the True Arena would hold an exclusive boss that you wouldn't be able to face in the main story. And this pattern would repeat for every single Kirby game going forward. And it's certainly a trend that I really like, and just really cool to get to challenge yourself with this souped up, more powerful version of the final boss. It is such a good challenge. And for what they had here on the DS, they definitely started with a really good one. Like, in essence, Mark's Soul just is a more souped up version of Mark's. He has new attacks. The attacks he does have are mixed up with much more faster and more damaging attacks that he can do. And just, his design is just really cool with just how grotesque he looks compared to his original version. I remember Sakurai saying that originally Mark's was planned to look a lot more creepy looking, and I could definitely see that Mark's Soul would definitely be influenced by the original idea they had with the character. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I want to say on that. It's been one of the shorter stream sessions we have done, but considering everything we have been up against, it was a good way to end this adventure. So, with that said, thank you for joining me throughout Kirby Super Star Ultra. So I believe I'll be taking the next week off from streams, as I want to focus on some personal stuff of mine, and I also want to focus on uploading my Ocarina of Time Twitch VODs over onto this channel. But then, very soon, we'll be back later this month to begin a new magical adventure. I'm very excited for what's in store for the future of this channel, and I hope you are too. So until next time, have a good day, and take care.